I've been covering problems at pension funds for years now. There's a long list of them. I even interviewed a number of years ago at a small pension fund and was told that the salary I was requesting to help them out of like $65,000, 70,000 was way too much. Meanwhile, the problems with the pension funds are enormous. It is pervasive. There's pension fund fraud. It's just unbelievably frustrating and angers me that regular, everyday mainstream Americans who pay in and save and try to do the right thing are just totally screwed over by either pension fund managers who don't do a good job or Wall Street investment banks, hedge funds, and private equity who routinely screw these people over on fees. Screw over the pension fund managers, screw over the pension fund investment boards. So there's a lot of blame to go around. The people who save in the pension funds are the clear victims. And the New Jersey pension fund here had enormous losses, down 13% with their pension fund, with the stock market crash and other assets cratering in the last 4 to 6 weeks. This is another thing that angers me. This is California's largest pension fund, CalPERS. They unhedged in January. So when stocks were rising, they weren't protecting their downside risks. They weren't protecting their gains. This was the main reason why I decided to do this short video, was based on this story. So just incredibly frustrating what is happening with the pension funds, how even though the stock market was going parabolic over the last couple months of 2019, rising enormously, while there was clear global pandemic problems in China and it was starting to spread to other parts of Asia and then Italy. And then there was no hedging strategy from a supposed professional money manager. It's unbelievably stupefying, unbelievably ridiculous. Again, banging my head against the wall here, how horrible things are for the victims here inside the pension funds. So if you want to research this more, Real Vision TV has a ton of great interviews on their YouTube channel. If you're not a paid subscriber for Real Vision, those interviews were behind the paywall first, but those are some really, really good ones if you want to research this more in depth. Also, this interview that Chris Martenson did almost exactly a year ago, actually, with Ted Seidel. He is a pension fund lawyer, and he sues pension funds for transparency. So the pension funds that are getting raped and pillaged by Wall Street on fees, getting raped and pillaged by hedge funds, getting raped and pillaged by private equity on fees and bad investments, or sometimes the pension fund manager is getting bought off with bribes or expensive vacations or other perks. So he handles a lot of the lawsuits to try to open up the books for fees and bad investment for these pension funds, but it's pervasive, unfortunately, and it's not going away anytime soon. And finally, this is a new article that just came out recently from RealClearPolitics, and it's talking about how states are already starting to go after global pandemic funds, and they're debating trying to raid that for pension fund bailouts. So again, unbelievable. I feel really bad for the victims, but it's a tough situation. If the Fed is going to create unbelievable amounts of digital dollars, if the dollar is going to stay relatively strong against other fiat currencies, at least for a short amount of time, the Fed might attempt to bail out some of these pension funds. Maybe they pick winners and losers. Maybe they do a small amount of them and see how the dollar reacts to this. But we could conceivably start to see this in the near future. Finally, all the articles and videos, the research links will be below the video in the information and description section. I did an interview tonight with George Gammon. It is comprehensive. I'm not sure when it's going to be out. I heard maybe this weekend. So be out on the look for that. There's a lot of analysis there about how bad the global economy was for 12 to 18 months prior to the global pandemic, and also the Chinese economy prior to the global pandemic, and what's happening now, and potential stagflation risks and other risks to the dollar, and also the dollar tug of war and gold.